Once upon a time, in a long-forgotten age, there stood a humble village at the foot of a great mountain. Though the people of this village were not wealthy in gold or jewels or extravagant luxuries, they had food to eat and shelter from the elements. They lived happy, productive lives, which made them richer in a way than any king. But one day, a great shadow fell upon the village. The people became sick. Their crops withered and died, and their dreams were wrought with nightmares. The village elders gathered among the sacred stones to hold council. Voices were raised and much blame was cast, but it seemed that no solution could be found. It was then that a certain old hermit arrived at the gathering. Someone must go to consult the high priestess Ziana, the oracle of dreams, I told the council. The elders all nodded their agreement, but who could make the perilous journey to the temple at the top of the mountain? I told them that in my dreams I had seen the man who must go. He was one of the hunters from among the village, skilled at his trade but often lost in his own thoughts. His name was Amaru. Though Amaru felt great trepidation at leaving his home, he was a proud warrior and let none of his fear show. He made light of his journey, bragging that he would be home with the oracle's council in time for dinner. But in his heart he feared that he would fail in his quest and let his village down. With one final look back at his home, Amaru set out on his journey up the great mountain. Icy gales assaulted him as he scaled the peak. Cold numbed his fingers to the bone, yet he pressed on. When at last he reached the top, his eyes widened in amazement at the magnificent temple before him. Warmth washed over him as he passed through its majestic gates. Amaru gazed up in astonishment to see the most beautiful creature he had ever laid his eyes on, her skin emblazoned with the traditional markings of the Dream Maidens. he watched transfixed as Ziana, the Oracle of Dreams, descended from the heavens on wings of pearlescent light.
At last you have arrived.
The Oracle said when finally she spoke.
I knew you would come to help me.
I am afraid it is the other way around. I have come to seek your help. My village has come under some great evil
Do not be afraid. Do not live in fear of falling or catching fire. Can living in fear truly be considered living at all?
I don't understand.
No, nor do you overstand. You stand precisely as you ought to. To stand any less would be an unseemly slouch, and to stand any more would be awkwardly rigid. But it is not for your posture that I have summoned you.
I think you must have me mistaken for someone else. I was not summoned. I was sent by my village elders.
No, you were definitely summoned. Who do you think speaks in the old man's dreams? I needed someone with the strength of character to survive the dangers of the dreaming. Here, this dream catcher will take you into the world of dreams, where Ida, the queen of nightmares, makes her home. It is she who has brought darkness and misery upon your village. We haven't much time. You must...
Amaru picked himself up to see the oracle's wings and satin slippers lying torn and crumpled on the ground. He turned his attention to the dream catcher from which the monster had come and taken Ziana. Much to his surprise, it began to move, spinning the warrior around at an alarming rate. Before long, the dream catcher lifted up into the air, taking Amaru with it. Born on the Dreamcatcher's magic, Amaru flew down the mountainside and past the small village he had called home all his life. He flew through the dark woods that grew wild around his home. The familiar trees about which he had played as a youth gave way to the deep forest beyond. On he sailed, out to the great eastern sea, which he had only heard of but had never seen for himself. Water so vast that it extended as far as the eye could see. The Dreamcatcher plunged Amaru into the depths of the ocean, and deeper still past the boundaries of the waking world, and into the realm of the wild, unbidden magic of the unconscious mind, the dreaming. Fantastic sights surrounded him on all sides, creatures of legend and a vibrant, colorful world full of wonder. But even the splendor of the dreamscape could not distract Amaru from his pursuit. As he journeyed deeper into the dreaming, it began to teem with creatures of nightmare. The foul servants of Idja tore Amaru out of the Dreamcatcher, and the warrior was pulled down into darkness. Languishing in the darkest depths of the dreaming, the oracle hung, bound and imprisoned by the queen of nightmares. Her back ached from where her wings had been torn from her, and the loss of her power left her feeling empty and hopeless. But from somewhere in the depths of her being, she summoned the courage to continue on. She struggled against her silken tethers until the twisted power that bound her arms began to unravel. Once free from her bonds, the oracle gathered the magic of the dreaming about her like a great fog, and cast her spirit out into the world of dreams to find the warrior she had summoned and lead him back to her. Turning back to the ribbons of power that once bound her, she used them now to escape her nightmarish prison. As she was climbing her way to freedom, the silk beneath her hands sought to ensnare her once more, and the very dungeon itself seemed to draw her back in. But through persistence of spirit and sheer determination, the oracle was able to quiet the voices of her prison and ascend to the dreamscape above. Amaru also awoke to find himself imprisoned. The long hours suspended in darkness were periodically interrupted by Idta, the queen of nightmares, who would occasionally come to torment him. vision of the oracle appeared before the warrior's eyes. The ethereal apparition guided Amaru to use the silken tethers that once bound him to climb his way to freedom. Once out of the dungeon, Amaru was cast down as the silk he was climbing dissolved into mist. He was beset by giant hands that plunged out of the sky to crush and grab at him. He saw the vision of Ziana once again, and he tried to follow it, but the ground below swallowed him up. One of the massive hands plucked him out from where he slowly sank, and Amaru struggled against the mighty grip as the giantess brought him up to her gaping maw with hungry eyes. Amaru flung himself with all his force, narrowly missing the mouth of the enormous creature. Meanwhile, Ziana climbed out of her own dungeon. She felt keenly the loss of her wings and despaired of trying to defeat the powerful Queen of Nightmares without them. But such wings could only be reclaimed through ancient magic in an hour of great need. Familiar with the strange and shifting ways of the dreaming, she slid gracefully down as her silk dissolved. One of the dragonlings set to guard her prison attacked her, but with a wave of her hand, the monster burst into a swarm of magnificent butterflies. Flung from the Titan's head, Amaru landed in a valley of discarded weapons. One blade after another lifted into the air and attacked the warrior. Amaru smashed the weapons to pieces until all around him there was nothing left of the Valley of Blades but a sea of broken shards. Seeing the vision of the Oracle once again, Amaru followed her deeper into the world of dreams. Ziana encountered the Hound of Somnus. She conjured a magical leash, and with it she was able to tame the fearsome nightmare. She commanded the creature to sniff out the warrior she had summoned. The monster soon caught the scent and eagerly pulled the oracle along. When at last the two found each other, an ancient magic overcame them both. They were pulled into a dream dance and bound together by the most powerful magic in this world or any other. Once the magic of their bonding had subsided to a soft glow, Ziana lamented to Amaru that she feared there was no hope of defeating the Queen of Nightmares without the wings that had been torn from her.
The wings were not merely a way for me to fly. They were the outward manifestation of my power. Without them, I have no way to protect the dreaming. The world of dreams will be overrun by Idja and her horde of nightmares. The people of the waking world will fear to sleep, for only terrors will await them every night. In time, the nightmares will haunt them even in their waking hours, and the world will be devoured by madness.
What can we do?
Our only hope is the dance of the Crimson Veil.
The Crimson Veil?
The veil is a cascade of diaphanous silk.
I know what a veil is.
Aha! Then avail yourself of my wisdom and be silent. The Crimson Veil separates the world of the waking from that of the dreaming. Legend tells of a time before the veil when the Empress of the Dreaming and the Emperor of the Waking performed a sacred dance together. The Emperor pulled the Empress into the sky, and together they created the veil between worlds and bound the powers of nightmare for 1,000 years. The Emperor became the sun, and the Empress the moon. There has not been another Emperor or Empress since, but there is a prophecy that one day another Emperor and Empress would arise to protect the dreaming once more. Each generation, an acolyte of my order is chosen to inherit the mantle of the Oracle of Dreams, and is entrusted with the secret steps to the dance of the Crimson Veil, so that when the time comes, the new Emperor and Empress might restore the veil and once again protect the world of dreams. My wings were fashioned from the fabric of the veil 1,000 years ago, and passed down to each oracle from generation to generation. Only the veil has the power to restore them. I will teach you the dance as we travel there together. Come, it will not be long before Idja discovers our escape.
Will you quit doing that?
Ziana and Amaru traveled across the dreaming together, and each day the oracle would teach the hunter another step of the dance that would restore her power. Once they arrived at the veil between worlds, at the edge of the dreaming, Amaru gathered the billowing silk about him and climbed into the heavens. He entwined himself in the scarlet ribbons and reached out to Ziana. The oracle took his outstretched arms, and with a deep breath began the dance of the Crimson Veil. Once the dance was complete, Ziana was dismayed to look back and see that no wings had appeared. The ceremony had failed. The Queen of Nightmares had won. Idta, enraged at their escape, pursued the lovers with an unrivaled fury. Distraught that the dance of the Crimson Veil had not restored her wings, Ziana led Amaru to another dream catcher at the other end of the dreaming, one that would take them out of the world of dreams. Together they traversed the wondrous dreamscape, the Queen of Nightmares always just behind them. They took hold of the dream catcher, intending to leave the dreaming and run away together, somewhere that Idta could never find them. Seeing Ziana and Amaru as they were leaving in a dream, my heart sank as I realized that all was lost, and our small village would be left defenseless against the wrath of Idta. But Amaru looked at me then, and I saw steel determination mixed with heartache behind his eyes. With a heavy heart, he kissed Ziana goodbye and leapt from the dreamcatcher into the endless wasteland of the nightmare realm, in the darkest recesses of the dreaming. He called out into the misty darkness, his defiant cry a challenge to the Queen of Nightmares. Idta came upon him, her voice dripping honey. She offered him wealth, she offered him power, she offered him immortality itself to rule by her side forever. But Amaru denied her, demanding that she cease to torment the oracle and the people of his village. Her beautiful visage melted into the monstrous writhing shape of her true self. She fell upon him with a fury, her tentacles lashing out in a tempest of destruction. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, in his hour of greatest need, the final piece to the ritual fell into place. The crimson veil was restored, and the oracle's power returned. Together they vanquished the monstrous queen of nightmares, banishing what remained of her shattered spirit into the furthest recesses of the dreaming. But a tiny fragment of her power escaped and fled into the waking world. With Idta's influence gone, the hunter's village grew prosperous once again, but Amaru did not return. Instead, he and Ziana wandered the world, chasing that last remnant of the Queen of Nightmares wherever she fled. Some say they chase her yet to this day, sharing their story as they go, to give others the courage to face her as well. For darkness and nightmares can never prevail, so long as there are those empowered by love to light the way and keep dreams alive.